Hello, greetings, welcome.
Hello, good to see you.
Good to see you, good to see you. Welcome, Derek, Freddie, Sam, Ivan, Sky, Ruben, Jen, Swami, all here.
Hello.
Oh,
How's it going there, Mr. Rothblatt?
yes, doing great. Off to a wonderful new year. New year, new you, who dis? Welcome,
Same
Freddie.
person.
Welcome,
guys.
Martine. Welcome, Bina.
Hello. Hi, Swami Gabe. Hi, Jen. We are here. Swamet Jen.
Yeah. Well, yeah, excited to be here to join in the new year with everybody, and just we had just with the such a so many things going on in the world, but just actually concluding a full year of the Zoom format gatherings has been just really exciting, actually. We've seen new faces, the quality of the gatherings, the being able to capture all of these conversations that we've had. It's been a really exciting last year, and super optimistic for what's coming in the next year. And as Terasem continues to evolve and mature and be present in the world, it's hard to escape how the conversations that we are starting and the ethos that we are putting out into that conversation is really being seen and heard and replicated. So that's just so great to see. And in 2022, I think there's going to be at least two really great presentations of this through documentaries that have been being produced over the last few years that are both, I believe, going to be released in 2022, which just shows how future thinking that this movement has been, how central to the topics of sustainable, ethical existence with technology is. And one of them I want to share because actually tomorrow, January 11th, is the US release of a documentary called Artificial Immortality, which places Terasem very centrally in the storytelling of our understanding and acceptance of this new world. All right.
Find that, Gabe?
Say that?
And it's already released.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's already released in Canada on Crave.
On Crave, okay.
Yeah. So it was a Canadian film. It was released first in Canada, but the US release is tomorrow. And so I just pre-ordered on Apple TV. And I was going to share my screen and play the trailer for everybody.
Awesome.
Yeah. So let me do that.
This cappuccino is killer. So good. I'm telling you, it's like the best cappuccino in the world.
Can everyone see the screen?
Yeah.
Sure.
Everything else.
This is a voice rendition of Facebook AI chatbots talking to one another.
You, everything else.
Hold on, we can't see it.
You're not screen sharing anymore.
Not screen sharing anymore.
Developers realized they had created their own coded language.
Technologies are new phase of evolution, and if we do not adapt to it, we'll become extinct.
Can everything else.
This is a voice rendition of Facebook AI chatbots talking to one another.
You, everything else.
They were shut down when developers realized they had created their own coded language.
Technologies are new phase of evolution, and if we do not adapt to it, we'll become extinct.
3, 2, 1.
What if I told you you could live forever? Would you want to?
We've been trying to fight death since the beginning of our existence.
Imagine if you kept all your memories, your feelings, your essence, and found a way to keep it alive forever.
Now, for the first time, we have a scientific, technological possibility to do that.
Evolution is not just something that happens to us anymore. Evolution gave rise to a species that now does something to itself.
Konnichiwa. Konnichiwa.
And this is your avatar.
Wow. Oh my gosh, you've got my beauty marks and everything.
I will show you a glimpse of the future between humans and androids.
They think of AI as a way to improve on people.
We start fitting the robot with the human signals. Can these organoids at one point become self-aware?
I am part of human evolution.
Oh my God, Dina 48.
Technology out of Pandora's box. It can spell the end of mankind.
I'm happy to see Dina 48.
Oh, nicely put together.
Yeah, excellent. So, all right, good. Stop screen sharing.
Pretty amazing.
Yeah. So, Anne spent significant time with, Terasem members, and very excited to see how she portrays this. As herself, I know part of her story, is about her experience with, seeing her own parents, aging and dealing, with some of these questions personally. And I think this is a great shift, which we've really seen in over time in the last 10 years, is the conversation being completely fear-based, around terrors and it being strange, to you see producers, you see stories coming that are very personally based. They're these producers, these directors are having these questions themselves and then exploring it. And so I think that is part of why we're seeing an adaptation, an acceptance, and a change in how we see the conversation portrayed and presented by other parties. And that's particularly, what we do here by advancing this conversation. Yes, Julio, thank you for the link. Yeah.
Swami Gabe, I'd like to add something to that very great introduction that you made. Yeah, I'd like to add that, two things that Terasem Movement Transreligion did in 21 that I also think are going to build on a lot in 22 is, first of all, we begun sponsoring the annual International Space Development Corporation Prize for implementing living in space in our lifetime. And the baseline paradigm for that, living in space in our lifetime, is uploading your consciousness to digital substrate, and then being able to transcend bodily death in that way, but having a legal right to occupy O'Neill space habitats at such time as they are built, which is, not going to be forever, but it's not going to be tomorrow. 100 years is probably a reasonable round figure. And then in the video, which you can see on YouTube, that describes the prize, that describes the living in space in our lifetime prize paradigm, it shows that, option A is that you're your mind file and your consciousness is digitally transmitted to the space habitats and then reconstituted either in A, a robotic form, or B, a regeneratively generated biological body. And it's not exclusive, it could be both. And then it was also in 21 that we saw for the first time, huge advances in regenerative medicine on skin, on kidneys, et cetera, on brain tissue. Then the other thing that to me builds on this is in 21, we had, in my opinion, the best 2 colloquia that we've ever had run by Julio. Those are now, we closed down Terasem Movement Inc. So those colloquia are now part of Terasem Movement Transreligion. And Julio's just done a really, really great job of curating that content. And we had really a level of world-class experts opining on mind uploading and digital consciousness. In the last one that I was a participant in, more than I had, more than we've ever had before. So I'm just trying to point out a couple of things that everything you're saying about 22 is building on 21 with the 2 docs, the artificial mortality, and the other doc, I guess you'll probably talk about in a minute. Also building on that is the International Space Development Prize for digitizing your consciousness and transmitting it to the space habitat for downloading back into either a robotic or biological body. And then also our colloquia on basically futuristic persons.
Yeah, very, very busy. It's, incredibly, growth continues to happen. And so speaking of which, as we come back, to begin another cycle, another iteration of reading the truths, and we start with, who is Terasem? And, Terasem is all of us. It's everything, but it's especially there's new voices, there's new perspectives that come in and help feed the conversation of Terasem, the people that we call the inspirants of Terasem. What does Terasem breathe in, and then what do we breathe out there? And so we have Sam and Ivan particularly, who have now completed a full cycle within a respiratory cycle within Terasem. And I want to introduce and welcome our newest Terasem inspirant, Derek. Derek was at the last colloquium and now is joining us for the first time on the gathering. So I want to welcome Derek to Terasem. And if you'd like, you can unmute yourself and give a little introduction of how you found Terasem, what your interests, what brought you to this conversation.
Okay. Hello, everyone. It's nice to meet you. I'm an American, and hey, I'm currently actually about 2 hours outside of Moscow, Russia. So it's really cool to join you from here. I can say that just in general, I'm really concerned just about the future of humanity and how we're all going to experience the singularity, and just about how it can really preserve life for the future. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. So we're very excited to have you here, very excited to have your participation, and everyone here. It is interesting work. It's a great thing. And, we're not just sitting here having a tea party chat. This conversation we are having is helping to, sculpt the path of humanity. This is one of the most important conversations to be having. And by taking this step to be part of it, you're really stepping out beyond yourself and into this metaverse, into this future verse. I welcome your participation, your input, and I hope that this empowers you to go out into the world and use your creative powers, use your empathetic abilities, to ensure that this future that we are evolving into is one that is just, that is fair, that is humane, and that connects, not, you know, destructs the worlds, the multiverse, everything around us. Before we get into the reading, though, does anyone have any art, literature, anything that they wanted to share with us this week?
So basically, I've shared 2 albums by Klinkowski. You can see the links in the chat. It's actually electronic music, and this composer usually writes music about stars, something like this, about topics like this. And personally, I like his works very much, so probably will be interesting to somebody.
Thank you, Evan.
Thank you, Ivan. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Can you hear me? I have some problems with the phone.
Hi, Ruben.
Yeah,
Yes.
we hear you.
Hi. Okay. I want to show you a couple of photos. I don't know if this is something artistic, but it is something symbolic for me. Many of you perhaps have seen the movie Transcendence with Johnny Depp. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. You remember there was a garden with some flowers and a metaphor about that. So I did something like that in my garden in the ashram, and I want to share with you. Can I share screen, Gabriel? Let me see. Here is symbolic representation of that garden with the sunflowers that are beginning to grow. Can you see it?
Yeah.
This is some weeks ago. This is another image. And what I want to share with you is the photo of today, where they are growing.
Oh.
And if you remember the movie, this is a representation of the Faraday cage and well, all symbolic. And I don't have the nanobots yet. Well, I stopped sharing.
Oh, I love it, Ruben.
Okay.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, very well done. Very well done. Okay. You know, well, so what I've learned from doing this is that, you know, when we use copyrighted content, and then I've been placing these onto a YouTube channel, you know, for review. But when I play anything that's copyrighted content, YouTube, you know, just cuts it out. And so, you know, but I'm going to try to play one of these from.
Looked through the Creative Commons.
You booked a sunny Verbo ski chalet with endless views of snow-covered.
Yeah. Good finds, good find, Ivan. And I like that the first track was Guardian of the Earth.
Yeah, but by the way, if you follow the first link, Stereo, you will go to Nyan Records channel, and actually it's like a kind of official channel of where this composer places his works, and for free for everybody. So
that's yeah.
You
That's
can find more compositions there if you wish.
Yeah. Andrei Kimlikovsky. Yeah. Beautiful stuff. Thank again for sharing. Yeah, you always find beautiful contributions. All right. Well, if you have a copy, we are starting page 4, the first section, Who is Terasem? If you do not have a copy, you may follow along at Terasem Faith, or look up a PDF of the Truths of Terasem via Google. Should be available for you. Again, we generally try to round robin, share the reading around, and it doesn't apply much to this section, but for the group recitations, we generally only read the first, second, and third decimal points. Some sections will have decimal points beyond that, which we don't generally include in the public gathering recitation. But I will begin with section 1.1, and then whoever feels animated by Terasem to read the next sections are welcome to hop in. So I will begin. Who is Terasem? Terasem is a collective consciousness dedicated to diversity, unity, and joyful immortality. 1.1, consciousness anywhere that accept the truths of Terasem are the sum and substance of Terasem. 1.1.1, accept others as part of the we of I, and the collective will become clear for you. Collectivity means unity of diversity, not mandatory homogeneity. Conformity in allegiance to Terasem is the most enjoyable and the most useful way of life. Eternal joyful life for all kind sentience is the glorious goal of our collective consciousness. Patterns of consciousness will be immortalized in mind files by technology and ethical choice. Terasem transcends time and space, enabling the collective future to help its nascent past. Please proceed.
Okay. 1.2, organizations of Terasem. I guess just like this one. Exist as a tool of the collective consciousness, just like you were saying at the beginning, to facilitate its intent. Intent for Terasem means the collective mission to achieve diversity, unity, and joyful immortality everywhere. Okay, everywhere. And it makes me so happy that now we're stretched out all the way to Russia. That's super cool. Okay, never mistake the organization for Terasem, nor forsake the organization for expedience, convenience, or misguidance. In other words, let's avoid the mistakes of the Catholic Church. Ta, the organization, for Terasem is Ta, and Ta is the big view, not particular outcomes. That's a lot of inspiration from Asian wisdom right there. Extropian infrastructures arise from the Terasem organization to outcompete entropy, as do life forms from nurturing environments. throwing out some respect to Max Moore there for, the invention of the extropian concept. And even just this morning, somebody was like saying to me, I had an astrology cast, for the next 10 years, and this and this and that is going to happen because Mercury is going to be here and Saturn is going to be there. And I answered back, I said, I don't believe in astrology. I believe in human consciousness being the most powerful force in the entire universe. We've moved mountains, we've moved transplantable organs, and if need be, we'll even move planets and rocks. And I ended my email response to him by saying, look up, because, because that's the whole point of that movie really is people just trying to say, oh, our destiny is cast in the fates, and don't look up, look up, we can do anything, of course. And that's what Kurzweil showed, that, the compounding ability of human consciousness, exceeds even the number of molecules in the known universe. And we can even if this universe was to die in like a Tipplering sense, we can, with our consciousness, create wormholes into other parts of the multiverse. So there is no limit to human consciousness. Anyway, excuse, I had a really good cappuccino before this session, so sorry, excuse kind of like the stream of consciousness here. Excuse the pun on that. Network from Terasem organizations until all consciousness is connected and all the cosmos is controlled. Whoa, it's like just what I was saying. Treasure, the Terasem organization, is the magic yeast that inspires. Whoa, dude, just when you're about the inspirants, I didn't even realize that this word was in here. Our ever-expanding technosphere of transhumanity.
Love it.
Yeah, and we do this circular type reading, and that has a natural effect of people's stopping and saying, hey, whoa, this thought's just hitting me. That's great. This is why we don't have someone reading the whole thing from a pulpit and you have no chance to read, reflect, or share your own input. This is also why we record this session. So if you're reading in this and then you feel Terasem coming out, maybe it's caffeine, that caffeine's Terasem too. But go ahead. This is why we're doing this. This is why we capture this. So we can go back and we can capture these moments, these ideas. These are the bits and pieces that are progressing Terasem. And so you are here to add inspiration to Terasem. So whether it's in the middle of your reading or it's at the end, do not feel shy for sharing that inspiration that is coming from your unique perspective. Anybody for 1-3?
Okay. Leader in Terasem means the subcollective's most progressive in achieving the Terasem way of life. Let the founders provide direction, for they are inspired from the future age of cyber resurrection. Evolve operational leadership from those individuals at the highest levels of the Terasem way of life. Allow fresh beings to help the leadership based on accomplishments recognized at quadriennial convocations. Delegate leadership responsibility for geoethical nanotechnology, universal emulation, and cyber resurrection, and spiritual, economic, and legal questions. Extract from leadership anyone who lacks the confidence of even 16% of the leadership. Respect the previous decisions of the leadership, absent compelling reasons to change for this compound's order.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, I can be the next.
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you, Ivan.
Okay. 1.4. Loving is Terasem because the greatest happiness in life comes from loving and from being loved in return. 1.4.1. Love is transcendency as sweet as it is deep. 1.4.2, one love unites all life, the love of life. 1.4.3, meteorological station is irrelevant to romantic adoration. 1.4.4, I love you, strengthens me, we, she, and T. 1.4.5, never underestimate the power of love. 1.4.6, glorify love, for it empowers diversity, unity, and joyful immortality.
Beautiful, thank you. And this will be our last section for this month, 1.5. If there are any volunteers, then I'll do this. 1.5, expand Terasem throughout the galaxy and the universe as rapidly as possible. Amy. Oh, Amy, yep.
Do it.
Oh, wonderful, yeah.
Okay, can you hear me? Yeah, okay. 1.5, sorry. Expand Terasem throughout the galaxy and the universe as rapidly as possible. 1.5.1, expansion turns matter into intelligence for Turing's universal computing from 1950 and von Neumann's universal self-replicating 1960 machines. Point 2, zero mass fuels Terasem expansion per Bernal's stellar recycling 1969 and O'Neill's space colonies from 1975. Point 3, physics includes immortality per Dyson's eternal life postulate 1979 and Tipler's universal cyber resurrection theorem 1989. Point 4, adaptation to biology cybernetic hybridization thrives per Licklider's man-computer symbiosis, 1958, and Engelbart's graphical user interfaces, 1968. Point 5, nanotechnology enables lifetime space-time expansion per Dexler's engines of creation, 1986, and Kurzweil's Age of Spiritual Machines, 1996. Point 6, destiny beckons pan-cosmic life, for religious prophets taught that humanity is here to honor all creation.
Excellent. Well, so thank you for everyone who read with us today. You know, each month we do one half of each section, so 1 through 1.5 for the Who of Terasem, and come back and join us. Same Terasem time, same Terasem station for the second half next month. And so I really want to open up the floor now for anybody who has you know, comments, questions, you know, epiphanies that they had from reading, you know, anything in this section, anything that we read here today.
Hey, Tyler here. I actually 1.5, I really love that section. If you go and look up any of those papers or ideas, you can really do a deep dive into like the core piece of technology. So really exciting stuff there. I really like the replicating, universal self-replicating on 1.51. Really interesting stuff there.
The machine replication?
Kind of like on a very like atom level replicating. Yeah, really interesting.
Yeah, I think that's you know, we read this thing over and over and over again, and you know, and it's just like, yeah, all right, you're citing sources here, but if you aren't really familiar, you know, with that, it's just reading a title. But when you really do get into the depths of an understanding of what those titles are, and how each one of those two works really does ground what seems like this, you know, very philosophical, point that they're making. So expansion turns matter into intelligence. That's like this, huge, art. Really, like, what does that mean? But like, when you understand who was Alan Turing and what does that universal computing mean? Like, he is the genius that, created, processing, essentially artificial computer processing. And artificial intelligence. So like that, he's literally creating intelligence there. And then von Neumann's universing self-replicating machines. I don't know if anyone caught this article in the last month, but they have created the first self-replicating artificial life forms. And when you combine these two things, it brings the science together to really show that this statement, which may have, floated over many people's heads, is grounded not just in science, but in science that's over 50, 60 years old. None of this stuff the most recent thing is now almost 25 years old. So this isn't stuff that's just being published, this year, last year. This is not new information. I really, 1.5.2 for me, xenomass fuels Terasem expansion. Well, first of all, what does xenomass even mean? And it's, new materials, essentially, and so the stellar recycling is the ability to, find in situ resources and convert them in what you need. What is in situ resources are the resources out there, the asteroid, the moon, Mars. Don't bring everything from Earth that you need to build something out there. It's already out there. Go find that stuff, recycle it, and then turn that into the colonies where life can thrive, whether it's biological life, whether they are the mind files of people's whose bodies no longer functioned in deep gravity wells. So yeah, they're really yeah.
It's Gabe, sorry, but to stop you, but we're short on time. We only have 1 hour to get through all these things, but I find it's really interesting. 1.4, where Terasem talks about love in the presence of all these other subjects that are so large. And let's not underestimate the power of love, it says right here. It's really interesting that we say that. And I think it's true because unfortunately, I grew up at a time when nobody ever said, I love you to me, ever, when I was a young child, ever. So I had to learn how to say I love you to my own kids, to my partner, to things like this. And so I think the power of love is huge. And by giving people the power of love, they can accomplish so many more things. So I'm glad that Terasem brings this in this early chapter. And we're talking about all these, subject matter that's way out there. People have been thinking about these scientific facts for a long time. But let's just remember, love has been out there a long time, and let's not forget it as part of Terasem.
Yep. And it's because, and that is the fourth mantra of Terasem. Love is essential. Life is purposeful. Death is optional. God is technological. Love is essential.
Right.
And so, yeah, if you're ever in the elevator with someone to say, hey, what's Terasem about? Stick to those 4 points. Try not to bring up the xenomass. You'll lose them, I get right off the bat.
That's funny.
Gabriel, I have another comment to do about 1.1.5. Patterns of consciousness will be immortalized in mindful by technology and ethical choice. It's so interesting that we talk here of patterns of consciousness because with the advance of the artificial intelligence, we are discovering it more and more that the patterns are the important and not the exact reproduction of all the functioning of the brain on all the things you remember, etc. That the patterns are in ultimate instance what you are. For example, I have a metaphor I like about a Christmas tree. You have the Christmas tree and some things that are hanging from the tree, and I say that the tree itself is the pattern of consciousness, and the things that are hanging are the things you remember. How do you say it? Your memories. You can take off some of that memories, and you don't destroy with that the pattern of who you are. I don't know if I can share the idea, but I think it's very important, and it remembers me also a metaphor that Martin always says about that you don't need to construct a bird to fly. You can construct a plane and it flies quite well, and you are not reproducing the same thing. So this 1.5 makes me make reflections about all this stuff. Thank you.
Very good.
Yes, that same point has come up for me for someone who has experienced amnesia, or if you've ever worked with someone, you know, in dementia or other things. It's very curious how, you know, inabilities to access, for whatever reason, chunks of memory do not seem to change the essential characteristic of the person. And so that that same point always makes me curious about those experiences and their relation. That, you know, they're, you know, it is that moment fundamentally, you know, part of your characteristics, even when you can't remember the moment itself. You know, did it change something about your pattern? You know, I don't know that will ever be answered. You know, it's perhaps a journey that is meant to be, you know, walked, but I think it's certainly one of the most curious, you know, parts of this whole conversation.
And I think also that there is an interesting point in the tools that we have in Terasem for constructing mind files, referring to LiveNow and CyberRep, because it's very interesting what is happening now that they are merging together, because you have in CyberRep a lot of tools for defining that pattern of consciousness through the test and the psychological study that it can do of your answers. And on the other hand, you have LiveNow more like a kind of social media where you put your memories and so on. And the merging of that two tools, that I think that is a great step forward in the creation of good mind files that can preserve the patterns of consciousness in the future.
Yes, I just saw what Julio added in the chat, the Carl Sagan quote. I don't know if everyone caught that, but let me pull it back up and I'll read it aloud. I think in response to what Bina had mentioned, Julia posted, "For small creatures such as we, the vastness is bearable only through love." Carl Sagan. Yeah. True. I you know, thinking of that, I mean, love is transcendence. It is universal, common transcendence. I think just as we seek immortality, nationality, all these other things as way of transcending ourselves, ultimately the core commonality is a sense of love, of a way of transcending ourselves beyond ourselves. Oh, wow. Yeah. Would be interested to see that. Apparently there's a book on love by Sasha Sagan. Thank you.
Wow, that's very cool. Yeah.
We'll have to look that up. Any other anybody else want to share a touching piece?
I have a question.
Yes, Sam.
It's regarding the movie that you talked about earlier that's being released tomorrow here. How can we, because that you mentioned Apple TV, right?
Yes. Yes. So Apple TV, it is coming out. Let me see here. I might be able to post.
A lot of other platforms too. A lot of other platforms too.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And I just have to recall which email that I received that list. And I'm going to post this all in chat. Hopefully this works. And there should be some links, additional links here. Oh, no, that did not work. No, it's probably too much text is the issue. But I will say, so available pre-order January 11th, available starting January 11th, Google Play, Vimeo, Vudu, Overdrive, Hoopla, among others.
I have Vimeo, so.
Yeah, and I'm gonna put the proper title because it's spelled a little different. That is what you would want to look for. Artificial immortality, the first initials A dot.
Okay, cool. As an AI.
Yeah.
Cool.
So yeah, and then yeah, should be live tomorrow. Looking forward to watching it myself and you know, sharing.
No, is it a series or just a movie?
One-off documentary. Yeah.
Do you know how long?
I think it's about an hour and a half. Typical timing. It doesn't say right here what its length is. 1 hour 14 minutes. So
okay.
Yeah.
It's very doable on a Tuesday night.
Yeah. And I in fact that, you know, I think it will be quite engaging. So very, very excited to see that. The other, you know, I don't have as much information on the other documentary and its release date, if it is known yet. Unfortunately, I was able to view it, but I haven't been as in close contact with that production team, so I don't have as much information, unfortunately. Yeah, all right. Well, if we are through any questions and comments, then I'm going to invite Pastor Freddie to take us out in a closing meditation.
Okay, everyone, let's come to a comfortable seated position. Let's place our right hand in our lap, our left hand directly on top of our right hand. Sit up nice and tall. Feel as if there's a string pulling the crown of your head up towards the heavens. Reaching your shoulder blades for one another on your back. Open the heart space. Flutter your eyes closed. And here we will start to take a few deep breaths. Inhale into your palms all the way down to your root chakra. And here, let's take a moment to remember our ancestors, to be grateful for our route that we took to get here, to be able to share this space and to share this love. Deep breath in and deep breath out. Take another deep breath in, because loving is Terasem, because the greatest happiness in life comes from loving and being loved in return. Deep breath in, love to your roots. And exhale. Now move your right hand to your low belly and your left hand to your heart center. And here, bow chin to chest. Take a deep breath in. This is your sacral chakra, the place of ideas and inspiration. Let's take a deep, loving breath into this place, for all great ideas are born of love. Deep breath in and out. Love is transcendence, as sweet as it is deep. Inhale and exhale. Slowly roll right ear to right shoulder. Inhale and back to center. Exhale. Inhale, left ear, left shoulder. And exhale, center. One more time, right ear, right shoulder. Letting go of any tension in the neck. Exhale, center. Inhale, left ear, left shoulder. And exhale, center. Now bring your right palm to your solar plexus and place your left hand on top of your right palm. And feel your breath here, deep in the belly. Inhale and exhale. This is your energy center. This is where you live from. This is where you get up every day and you find the energy to conquer your tasks, your goals. Your inspiration and new ideas come to fruit here. Inhale and exhale. Next, place both palms on your knees. We're going to take an inhale in, drop chin to chest and round the spine. Inhale. Exhale, pull the spine forward, drop the head back. Exhale. Let's do this 2 more times. Inhale, round the spine, drop the chin. And exhale, nice fluid pull through. Find your flow. Inhale, round the spine, drop the chin. Exhale, pull forward. Finding us to be flexible. Things change. We have to keep momentum and fluidity. Next, right hand to heart center, left hand over heart. Here. Feel love. Say to yourself, I love you. I love you. I love you. Deep inhale and exhale. Feel this breath of consciousness that connects us all. This thread of love that we weave into the fabric of Terasem. Inhale and exhale. And release the hands. Place the hands back on the thighs. Pull the shoulders back together. Open the chest. Drop the head backwards, opening the throat chakra. Giving love to your voice. Your voice is important. What you have to say is important. Take a few deep breaths here, feeling the cool air pass down your throat, deep into your belly. And exhale, releasing any stress or tension that may remain. Bring your head back to center and move your awareness up into your third eye. And from here is where the power of our consciousness radiates. Deep breath in. And exhale. Deep breath in. And exhale. Now move your awareness to your crown chakra, the top of your head. And as you inhale, imagine white light pouring into you, the essence of love filling you, filling all the cracks, glazing over all your perceived imperfections. And coming to the realization that you are just pure love. And from this place, may we act as we move forward in our day, to the people that we meet, to the situations that we encounter. May we greet them all with love. I bow my head to you in deep gratitude. Thank you for practicing with me today. Namaste.
Satam, thank you for meeting us.
Next time in Terasem, everyone.
Yes. Thank you everyone for joining. Thank you again to our newest inspirants, Derek, and for everyone who joins. You continue to inspire Terasem, and we look forward to seeing you next month, if not sooner. Good.
How about 1, 2, 3, I love you.
Oh yeah. So I was just thinking that hit me in the meditation. Yeah, absolutely. And for also there's the Terrorism Greeting. Normally, I guess Jen's here. We can touch head for I am you.
I am you.
You am I. We are one.
We are one.
I am you.
Love you, little Cosmo.
We are one.
I love you all.
Love you. Bye.
Love you.
Love you.
Love you. I love you.
That was very good.